and welcome to yet another sketchbook tour. My name is Séraphine, and I think we've established that this is my channel, this is my content. I am just showing you the sketchbooks that I filled. Maybe one day I will post something else, but as for now, enjoy this sketchbook tour. I tried to film this video yesterday and I was rambling on and yapping so much I gave up halfway through. So I will try to keep it a little bit more concise this time, but to be fair, this is kind of like the main reason why I have a YouTube channel anyways, so I can talk about my sketchbooks, like sketches, and my thoughts and ideas a little bit more in depth than on a short form video like on Instagram. Okay, I will give my best to keep it concise. So here's my sketchbook. It's by Hannemühle. I have used almost the same sketchbook before. I have used the cappuccino one, which is brown toned paper, and this one I think it's just called like gray toned, which has gray toned paper, which I like to use from time to time because certain media doesn't work quite as well with toned paper, but others really look way more interesting. So yeah, I decorated the cover with these aren't actual stamps, just like stickers, and a postcard I got at the museum. Okay, so the first page really isn't anything exciting, I think, just my business card, some stickers, washi tape, and honestly quite an ugly drawing of a spider that I saved from our shower drain. I started this sketchbook almost at the end of the year, 27th of December 2025, and I finished it on the 20th of May, which I think is quite an average time for me to fill a sketchbook. This one does not have a lot of pages, to be fair, so yeah. Here were some knitting ideas. Since the beginning of 2025, I have been knitting obsessively, and so I sometimes like to combine sketching and knitting. And so these were my plans for the year. So far I have actually made the skirt twice. It's one in a kind of a wintry yarn and one in a summer yarn. Then my first colorwork socks, and I have knit the Norma sweater by My Favorite Things Knitwear, which I really, really enjoyed, and I'm looking forward to the time I can wear it again, because right now it's 30+ degrees outside and I am not made for summer weather. And then this sweater vest and this sweater I am still going to cast on, but not right now because I cannot take thick woolly yarn at the moment. Here we have some very rough sketches for an illustration that I did. If you don't know, my my dream job, or what I want to be when I grow up, is to be a scientific illustrator. And this illustration, I'll put it up here. This was kind of the first piece that truly fit that vibe I am always going for with my art. I feel like it looks kind of like an older illustration from a nature book, and I just really love it. And that's the most fun thing for me, is to combine knowledge, especially about nature and animals, with art. So I'm really proud of this one. And I The elements, sorry, I keep hitting my plants. The elements are individually drawn with alcohol markers and colored pencils, and then I scanned them in and arranged a layout and added the text in Procreate. I'm sure there's better ways to do it, but for now it works for me. Here is a green woodpecker that I actually saw one. And again, I don't want to go on a tangent, but here's the thing. I am not at all like a spiritual person, and I don't really believe like in signs from the universe. I don't tend to like see those signs. However, I am constantly worried. Like my literal channel name is Arts and Anxiety. I am constantly worrying about everything. And so whenever I see an animal in the wild, like mostly when I'm driving, I often see like a fox or a hare or deer, or like a special bird like this one. It always feels like a little sign from the universe that I'm on the right path, because if I were on any other path right now, I wouldn't have seen this animal. It maybe sounds silly, but it's I don't know, it makes sense to me, and I always get so excited and like reassured when I see an animal in the wild. So yeah, this is the green woodpecker. This is kind of a creepy page. I had seen it, I'm not sure if it was an emu, I think so, on TikTok from like a zoo, and it didn't have any feathers, any plumage at all. And so I drew him and two other animals, bear and a chimp without any fur. Yeah, it's kind of creepy, but it was also interesting to see like the muscles of the animals, how they look without like any fur or plumage kind of fluffing them up. Yeah. Here is my little studio corner. In our apartment, I have thrifted this old cabinet, and I put some plants and like my stuffed or taxidermied marten and a couple of skulls and books I have, and it's just, I don't know, it's just exactly my vibe, this little corner. I love all things natural history related or academia related, and yeah, I want my art studio to reflect that as much as possible. I honestly think this is just, a quick doodle with like brush pens, but I really would like to make this corner kind of like a still life oil painting of that little corner. That would be really cool, I think. Some more skulls, a couple of fragments, again done with brush pen. And this one makes me miss winter so much because, again, it's way too hot right now. But this, I was at my parents' house and we were outside and looking at like the bird tracks in the snow. And then we saw, this is a picture I stuck in, that a little bird had slipped and fell onto its little bum. And I just think it's the most funny thing ever, because you can see like how he fell onto his little bum and he tried to hold himself with his wing. Yeah, so I just drew a little disgruntled bird that has to navigate its way through the snow. A teeth page. I have developed in the past couple of years a little bit of a phobia of the dentist, which isn't great, but I had to get my like a checkup and get my teeth cleaned and everything. And for the whole hour I was sitting there, I was sitting in the chair and feeling miserable and emotionally and dentally raw. I just thought about, when I'm at home, my reward is going to be I will get to sketch teeth. And so I did. Like from different animals. This one is really cool. If you don't know, you have to look them up. These are teeth from a crab-eater seal, which has developed those ridges in the teeth to filter out krill, which is like the coolest thing to me. And also this one, I really like this sketch. It's from a human mouth. I found this on Pinterest, and I guess it can be like not really good if you have teeth like this, but I personally think like crooked teeth or like a snaggletooth or things like that, I think it's so pretty. I feel like this so characteristic, and I way prefer this over like perfect teeth. So yeah, some teeth. Here is a fun page. I think I mentioned this in every video, but I work at a thrift store, and so I have the big privilege of coming across really cool finds all the time. And so one day we got, sorry, I have to grab it here. We got this box of Faber-Castell Polychromos color pencils, and like I could tell that it was old, but I couldn't find anything online like how old it was, and so I posted it in my story and tagged like Faber-Castell, and they actually replied to me, and they told me that this packaging, this design, was from the early 1930s, which is insane to me. And even more insane is that these color pencils are almost 100 years old, and they draw like regular ones. They're not chalky or crumbly or have lost their color or anything. So yeah, color pencils by Polychromos are my favorites anyway, because I feel like they have the perfect softness or hardness, whichever way you look at it, for my style. So I like to layer them, but I also like them to just sketch. So yeah, and what better way to test out colorful pencils than with a colorful bird. And here is just a little rose with some colored pencils my boyfriend's mom gave me from like a Christmas market. But they're water soluble, but I thought they fit the vibe of the page. Some more skulls. If you know one thing about me, you know that I love skulls. I have this series going on about animal skulls that I paint in oils, and they're all like done. I think I use like 4 pigments. I always use the 4 same pigments or paints for all of them, and the only thing that's like special about them, or that like differentiates them, is that they're all painted true to size. So I have one that's like 70 centimeters or something. That's like the head or the skull of a cow. But I also have like tiny ones from a pigeon or a mouse. And I don't know, if I didn't have any urge, I think, to try out other things, I would be happy for the rest of my life just to paint these skulls like this series until I'm done with all vertebrates, I guess. But here are just some I was planning to paint next. I think from these I painted the sloth, and because here's more. This is a tarsier. I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but like one of those little lemur type animals with the big eyes, and a mallard duck. Here are some illustrations or sketches in fine liner, and this is something I very rarely do. These are like directly copied from a book from like somebody else's illustrations. I wouldn't like I wouldn't like claim them as my own, or I wouldn't even really like post them, but I think it is good practice to study other artists' illustrations, obviously, and especially these ones were interesting to me because like the shading is very like curved. I often do just like straight hatching, but yeah. This is another illustration that I had planned it, but I haven't actually done it yet. But I just wanted to do like kind of like an infographic style about the platypus, because every time I hear something about the platypus, it's something new and something even weirder. And so I wanted to kind of like draw it and then add all of its like weirder characteristics around it. So like they're electrosensitive and it glows under UV light and it has venomous spurs, so all of those fun things. Here is a page from the museum I went to with a friend, and this is, I think, where at yesterday's trial to film this, I completely lost track the most, because I went on a whole tangent about child labor and like a country's more dark history, I guess. So if you don't know, Switzerland it's obviously, it's a safe country, it's a clean country, it's a very good country to live in. However, we do have a really just like horrible history of child labor, and this part of this exhibition focused on that. So there were children that were sold like from the Italian-speaking part of Switzerland in Ticino, were sold to Milan in Italy to work as chimney sweeps, because essentially those little boys were small enough to fit into the chimneys, and obviously a lot of them didn't survive that because of the harsh living conditions or of smoke poisoning, all of that. This was the jaw of a young girl who died working in a factory in Switzerland that was producing matches using very toxic materials. And she died from like getting poisoned, and she got a illness, I don't remember which one, but basically her jaw, it looked like it was made from wax, it looked like it was molten. So it's yeah, I don't want to get onto a whole tangent here, but I think that's why I love museums so much, because like no matter how great your country is or how great anything really is, anything in history is, you always have to look at like the bad things. Like you can't just forget about these atrocities or those horrible things those little children had to go through, and so many children are still going through today, maybe not in Switzerland, but in so many other parts of the world. And so, yeah, that was my trip to the museum. Here is a flower that I got gifted, and it was really pretty. I don't really like this spread. I don't think I did the best job at it, but I would like to draw more botanical things. I always focus more on animals, but there's so much to explore with like flowers and plants as well. Yeah. Some dinosaur sketches, and after telling you all about studying from other illustrators' work, and you do have to kind of be careful with it. It's kind of hard to do that with dinosaurs, because obviously there's no other way to learn how to draw them than reference other artists' work, except actually look at the skeleton, but I'm not that advanced yet to actually construct an animal just from the skeleton. But I would like to be. I think paleo art is like the coolest field one can get into. I think so. So yeah, but these ones just were copied from an old, well, I got it when I was like 6, so it is almost 20 years old, so I guess it's older for a book, which also means that a lot of those descriptions of the dinosaurs in that book aren't really accurate anymore, or, you know, we have advanced so much in learning how dinosaurs actually look that I think they're not accurate anymore. Yeah, dinosaurs are always fun, so yeah. Well, they're not all dinosaurs, I'm sorry. I think there's actually just 3 dinosaurs, 4 here. Yeah. This is kind of like the reason I am glad now that I have a sketchbook with white pages again, because on this one, with the toned paper, graphite just doesn't show up well, and I do love working or just sketching with graphite. Yeah, but here are some things I found on a walk by the creek, and you can basically ignore all of this because this is the important thing. It was the first time that I found a bone in that creek, and I'm still excited about it, to be honest. It is, I think, no, I know it's a finger bone, like a phalanx, like this bone or this bone, not sure. And to be honest, when I found it, for a second I wasn't really sure if it actually might be human, because it's like the size, it could be from a large man, like a man with large hands, it could potentially fit, but I'm pretty sure it's just from like a big, like hoofed animals, because they have the hoof, but then they still have these finger bones on top, and I think it's either from, no, it's too big for a deer, but I think maybe it's like from like a stag, a big one, or it's like a butcher's waist, I guess, from like a cow or a horse that has somehow made its way into the creek. Yeah, it's like I love collecting nature things and finding them, and I love all of it, but like a bone is like top tier. I always get so excited about that. Here are some flowers that my boyfriend gifted me for Valentine's Day, and because he knows me so well, he didn't give me like a bunch of red roses. He gifted me some primroses with a little bird stuck to them. Yeah, this is just gouache with color pencils on top. I realized I'm too impatient for like a full gouache painting nowadays. I just like do a foundation and then add details with color pencils or like wax pastels on top of it. Here I am allowing myself to leave pages blank in my sketchbooks. I don't do it often, but when I do, it's okay. I don't go back and fill them later on. This is a coot, and I wanted to draw all kinds of animals with like special adaptations for swimming, because I have taken up swimming this year and I really love it. But whenever I swim, like obviously I count how many like lengths I swam already and try to focus on my technique and breathing and all of that. But most of the time I think about other fun stuff to keep myself occupied, and I often think about how animals swim, how they evolved certain things to help them navigate underwater, like obviously like fins and webbed feet, and like the beaver that's able to close its nose and ear holes. So that's really fascinating to me. But again, I draw this coot, which has the coolest feet ever. They're not even like webbed feet, they're like these little skin flaps. But I drew this one, and then I was way too inspired by it and decided to just, oops, sorry, my plant is dying here, dedicate a page to it. So yeah, we have them a lot here in Switzerland. On like every lake you see them, and I think they're really lovely. I really like them. Oh, and my parents gifted me for my Matura exam, my degree, gifted me like a trip to a city, and we could have gone into any city, but we decided to go to London, where we have been twice before, just because we love it so much, and there's more to explore every time. And I think, honestly, if I had to move to a different city or like country, I think I would feel at home in London. Yeah. But anyways, our hotel was really close to Kensington Gardens, and so whenever we went anywhere in the morning, we would walk through Kensington Gardens, and it was the loveliest park. In Switzerland you don't really have like those big parks, I don't think, because you have so much greenery around anyways. So I mean that's nice, but it's also fun in London to just see. It also condensed, and it's a paradise for bird watching. And we also saw a little scruffy little fox. It was probably really sick. It did not look healthy. But yeah, there's really not a lot you can do when just, visiting. Yeah, but the birds were awesome. And this was honestly like the main reason we went to London, was to go to the Natural History Museum. And I don't want to get on another tangent, I really don't, but I'm not exaggerating. Like this museum, it is like called, like the architecture that designed it to be a cathedral to nature, and it really feels like it. I'm getting chills talking about it. Again, I'm not spiritual, I'm not religious at all, but so I think this was like the closest I'll ever get to a religious experience. Just like seeing this, it's really like a cathedral. It has this incredible architecture and the stained glass windows and all of those incredible specimens, and it was really a truly profound experience. Let's leave it at that. For myself as like a naturalist or natural history enthusiast, it was a really, really important day for me, I guess, and I already wish I could go back. And yeah, I didn't sketch these on sites because I was too overwhelmed, but believe me, I took enough photos to fill many, many more sketchbooks. And this was also from the museum, a woolly rhinoceros that was right like at the entrance. It's like a mummified rhinoceros that was preserved in permafrost. Yeah, it was really like interesting shapes to draw with a fine liner. Another swimming page. This is really different from my usual style, I guess, but I just wanted to do like something swimming related because I am really not an exercise person. I have a lot of trouble like getting into sports and keeping up with the habit and actually enjoying them. Like after a whole school career of getting stomach aches anytime we had like a sports lesson. But I'm slowly getting into it, and especially swimming has so far stuck. Yeah, I really enjoy it, and I actually like every time I actually feel a lot better afterwards, which isn't the case for most kinds of exercise for me otherwise. So yeah, this is me swimming in an empty lane, which never happens at the pool I go to, but you know, one can dream. Oh, this is our baby boy, Charlie. If you've seen my last, honestly quite depressing video, I told you all about it. He passed away last October, and he was just the most special, sweetest cat in the whole wide world, and I miss him so much. And I have done a painting of him already, but I painted him like sleeping, and I wanted to do like a portrait of him. And so I ended up, these were just some sketches, figuring out which pose I would like to do. And this is like the painting I ended up with. I'm actually quite proud of it, and I feel like it looks like him. And it's always like hard because he's not here anymore, but it's also just like a nice time to kind of spend time with him again. Yeah, that way by painting him. Yeah. Here is a woodpecker, another one. And if I said, you know, oh, my boyfriend knows me, he doesn't give me roses, he also knows me because he gifts me taxidermy birds. He went to a convention, and for some reason they had like taxidermied animals there, and he just surprised me with a little taxidermied woodpecker. I did a lot of Googling and research about the person that sold it to him, and it is ethical, so it's either from it was found dead or from like licensed hunting, which I wouldn't do myself, but I do agree with it, or like I am okay with it. And so yeah, and this little guy now lives on my previously mentioned cupboard, and yeah, I love it a lot because my boyfriend gifted it to me, and he really loves birds. We have gotten into bird watching together recently, which is a lot of fun, but he isn't too keen on all the dead things and like taxidermy and stuff like that, so it's even more special to me that he gifted me this. Yeah. Here are some sketches. I have bought like ages ago one of those little IKEA side tables without like the round top, and I had seen some people online doing like mosaic on top of it, and I really want to try that as well. And this is the design that I went with, a little bird. And at the time of recording this, I'm like halfway done with it. I hope I will get it done soon, or like at the point of uploading this. If it's done, I will put a picture here. Yeah, it's always like fun to try out a new medium that's like so different from everything else. Like I was trying to get way more into detail. I was like trying to add the feet of the bird, and I realized it was just too much. Like obviously I could have cut the stones like into smaller pieces, but it's fun to have kind of limitations given by a medium. Yeah. And more birds. As I mentioned, my boyfriend and I have taken up bird watching, and he is actually has taken up photography over the past couple of years, and it's so cool. It's the coolest thing ever. We go on a walk and we try to spot birds, and he takes these amazing pictures of them, and I get to use them as a reference. And so this is like an idea I've had for a while. I would like to do kind of a collaboration with him, I guess, that he would take pictures of all the birds we have, like in our town that we see, like on our walks, and I would do an illustration of them. But to be honest, there are so many more species of birds around here than I initially thought. So it might be a bigger project, or like a project I have to divide into multiple parts. Some big cats, just very rough, like brush pen. This is another like planning page for another like proper illustration. I did it the exact way like the one of the red kite I showed you in the beginning, but this one is from a Komodo dragon. And it's weird because as a child I was quite afraid of reptiles. I mean, especially snakes, but reptiles in general, except the Komodo dragon. And I don't know why, because it's honestly, it's so creepy. They swallow their prey whole like snakes, and that always freaked me out. And they drool like crazy. But yeah, I vividly remember when I was little, I had an animal book, and there was a photo of a Komodo dragon eating a goat, and it only had like the goat's leg sticking out of its mouth. And that has obviously made a lasting impression on little me. So yeah, and here's the final illustration. Quite proud of that one as well. You can, by the way, I think I have enough ideas on my own, but if you have an animal that you would like to see an illustration of in this style, leave all the suggestions in the comments. This was my birthday. My parents, they asked me what I wanted for my birthday, and I asked for the Arctic's acrylic markers. I have never used acrylic markers before, except for like the Posca pens, which I'm not really sure are acrylics, but I wanted to try out like brush markers, and I heard a lot of good things about them. And I really, really enjoyed them. They're very different from like any other mediums I used, so they're way more colorful. I only got the 36 set. I mean, I didn't want to try them out and have them and didn't like them and have like 120 sets that I wouldn't end up using. But I do think I might end up looking into... I don't think you can purchase them individually yet, but I think I would like to kind of be on the lookout for maybe other brands that have more muted colors and darker colors. Like this blue is the darkest that it goes, and then the next stage is just black. So yeah, but they are really fun, a really fun medium. Yeah. Because they were so fun, I made something else, this cassowary, and I'm really proud of that one. It's again way more colorful and bright and vibrant than I usually go for, but I think it looks so cool and like a comic style almost, with the black outline. Yeah. And then, obviously, the comfort zone, some skulls. This is honestly like the way I would see myself using them the most, with like drawing bones, because it's kind of easy. You draw the skull with like a mid-tone, you add shadows and you add highlights and you're done. So yeah, I mean, skulls are like my comfort subject to draw, so it is easy for me. But I feel like with a foreign medium, it's like a good way to approach the whole situation. Oh, and this is again from the Komodo dragons. I had done the illustration, and during that I read up a lot about them to add like facts to the illustration, and there was one part like about their mating behavior, and it said that the males often have to search long until they find a suitable female to mate with, but sometimes they happen to kind of like bump into each other when they feed on a carcass that they find. And I couldn't get the idea out of my head of this meet cute. Yeah, it's really silly, but I had this idea of two Komodo dragons just falling in love over some rotting meat. Yeah. Here I tested out, again with the Arctics markers, I tested out some color combinations for a sweater. I would really like to knit the Olga sweater by Petite Knit. And there's so many cool color combinations out there. So I just tried out some, and I think I like this one the best. I like it. It has to be, the burgundy has to be like deeper, but like a deep burgundy and an olive oil green. I think would be a really cool combination. But again, not while it's so hot. Some more quick illustration ideas. I would like to build kind of like a portfolio with this specific style of illustration, like the red kite and the Komodo dragons. And I did this one with less like information, just like the illustrations of like 5 butterflies that you often see in Switzerland during the summer. Here it is. I like it, but I think I like the previous ones a little bit better because of there's more going on and there's more information and more, yeah. But it's fine. I don't really like drawing butterflies because they're so symmetrical and it always stresses me out. But yeah, I do like them as an animal, of course, but I like less symmetrical animals a little bit more to draw. Here are some tree stumps. My boyfriend and I went on a walk by a lake, and while he was taking pictures, I observed all of those cool tree stumps. I really love like those organic shapes where you don't have to get everything exactly right for it to look cool. And this is like my favorite way to use a brush pen as well, to add some line variation and such. Oh, and here I was dog sitting for my neighbor / colleague, and this lovely old lady is really old and she doesn't really need any entertainment. She just likes being around someone, and so I was painting at my desk and she was sleeping behind me on the carpet, and she has the biggest ears ever. She's really a sweet old dog. And yeah, for the final page I used the Arctics acrylic markers again, and this time I used colored pencils for some line work and some shading. yeah, just because again, there's not really any dark colors besides the black in this set. Yeah, some blueberries. I have been obsessed with blueberries this summer. I eat like half a kilo of them each week. They're the perfect snack in my opinion. Yeah, and I really love like the stages, like they blossom really prettily, and then the different stages of ripening are interesting to me, and yeah. All right, and like the final page is always just like testing out pens for me. So yeah. Thank you so much for watching. I have rambled on for way too long again. I am sorry, but you know, I hope you have enjoyed it. Maybe you have sketched a little bit yourself. If you did, tell me what you sketched, and maybe you just listen to me ramble on in the background, which is perfectly fine as well. Okay, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you probably the next sketchbook I fill. Bye!